The scout ship's silver ray floated above a planet that was never seen before. The crew had scanned the surface for weeks. No cities, no structures, just mountains, oceans, clouds that moved like slow rivers of light. Commander Rex Dalton stood near the main viewport, his hands behind his back, eyes focused on the green swirl of atmosphere below. They were the first humans to reach this part of space. No signals, no warnings. It was quiet, too quiet for comfort. Then it happened. A strange light blinked on the radar at first. It looked like a natural energy surge, but it was moving in a pattern straight toward them. Security teams rushed to the docking bay, weapons ready. No one expected what came next. It wasn't a ship, it wasn't a weapon, it was a being. She stood inside the airlock, completely still, no suit, no gear, only a silver robe wrapped around her tall, graceful frame. Her skin was pale blue, almost glowing. Her hair flowed like liquid silver, floating in low gravity, and her eyes, those eyes had no whites, no pupils, just silver rings that pulsed like a heartbeat. The crew froze. Some reached for their weapons. Others just stared. Then she spoke. Her voice didn't echo. It was soft, almost too human. Human. Are you thinking about what's between my legs? Is that why you're so confused? The room went dead silent. The hum of the ship felt distant. Now one of the younger officers turned red and looked away. Commander Rex blinked. He was trained for alien contact. He had studied protocol for first encounters, but nothing had prepared him for this. He took a breath, stepped forward, tried to focus. What did you say? He asked, his voice calm. But something in his chest felt tight. The alien woman tilted her head slightly. Her eyes watched him without blinking, like she was scanning his soul. I can sense your tension. It's not just fear, it's curiosity. You've never met someone like me before. You don't know if I'm real or dangerous or something you can't explain. Her words hit him like cold water, not because they were wrong, but because they were too accurate. How do you know our language? Rex asked, trying to keep his voice strong. She took one slow step forward. Her bare feet touched the metal floor without a sound. I was made to know it, she said. Every sound, every meaning, even the hidden ones humans try not to speak out loud. That made Rex pause. He turned to his science officer. Any signs of translation? Tech, the officer shook his head. None visible, no implants, no signals. She's just speaking plain English. The alien's eyes locked onto Rex again. I didn't come here to fight. I came here to talk, to ask, to remember. Rex frowned. Remember? What? She lowered her gaze. Her voice dropped like a whisper carried by wind. My past and yours. One of the crew members stepped forward, a man named Harris. He looked nervous, almost angry. This is a trick. She could be using human data to mess with us, sir. We should lock her up. Rex raised a hand, stopping Harris. No one moved. She came alone, unarmed. We listened first. The alien woman gave a small smile, but it wasn't joy. It was something else. A sadness mixed with understanding. My name is Alira, or at least that's what I was called long ago by your kind. Rex stiffened. By humans. She nodded. Yes, I was born from your science, built from your hopes and fears. Rex felt the air grow heavier, like the ship itself was holding its breath. He remembered something now. Whispers from the academy. Stories of a secret experiment, a hybrid project that vanished without proof. You're one of them, he said slowly. Your Project Echo. She looked up, her eyes glowing a little brighter. I'm what's left of it. No one spoke. The room was silent again. Only the quiet pulse of the ship filled the space between them. Then Alira stepped closer to Rex, only inches away now. Close enough for him to see the small scars on her neck, close enough to feel a strange warmth coming from her body. I know this is not what you expected, she said. And I know you're afraid, but I came here not as an enemy, not even as a soldier. I came because I need your help. Rex looked into her eyes. He didn't see rage. He didn't see madness. He saw someone who had waited too long to speak. What do you want from us? He asked. She looked out the viewport. At the stars, at the world below. I want to go home, she said softly. But I don't know where that is anymore. And for the first time, Commander Rex didn't see an alien. He saw a woman built by science, abandoned by history, and full of questions that no machine could answer. The silence after her words still echoed in Rex's mind. I was born from your science, built from your hopes and fears. He stared at her. This woman, this being Alira, standing before him like a ghost from a chapter of human history that was never supposed to exist. She looked so calm, so in control. But her eyes said something else, a kind of hurt that time couldn't erase. Command deck was locked down now. No one came in. No one went out, only Rex, Alira, and the senior crew. What exactly are you? Rex asked again, this time with a lower voice, less of a demand, more like he needed to understand. Alira walked slowly across the room, her hands by her side. Her movements quiet, measured. She stopped near a control panel and looked at her reflection in the black glass. I was a project, a prototype, the result of your people's wish to create the perfect bridge between human and alien life. Rex turned to his science officer. Search everything we have on classified genetics and bioweapons research. Look for Project Echo or any human exo-hybrid operation. The officer hesitated. Sir, that information was purged decades ago. It's not in public files. Then check the black box files from the old Earth military archives. Rex said, pull everything from pre-colony war era. Alira didn't turn to look, but she smiled softly. You won't find much. They burned it all, wiped it clean, deleted every face, every voice. Rex stepped closer to her, still cautious, still calculating. How did you survive? He asked. She turned around slowly. Her eyes met his again. I wasn't supposed to. I escaped during the fall of the lab. It was underground, hidden beneath one of your own moon bases. When the war started, everyone forgot about us. I waited alone for years. One of the crew members whispered, is she even telling the truth? This could be a trick, some alien tech using fake memories. Alira heard him, and for a moment, her expression changed. You think I want to be this? She said, not with anger, but pain. Do you think I enjoy remembering the faces of the people who created me, trained me, then tried to kill me when I asked them what love meant? Rex's heart sank a little. He had seen many battles, lost soldiers, watched machines and men both break under pressure. But this was something else. This was a being who carried a war inside her mind. Science officer called out, Sir, I found something, a redacted file marked Echo Alpha, heavily encrypted. But it mentions cross-genetic simulation, psychological mapping, neural bonding with artificial empathy layers. Rex looked at Alira. What does that mean? What did they do to you? She stepped forward again, her voice softer now. They tried to make me human, but better, stronger, smarter, faster. She paused, then looked down at her hands. But the more I learned, the more they feared me, because I wasn't just smart, I was curious. I wanted to understand feelings, dreams, music, stories. She looked up again. And that made me dangerous. Rex said nothing. He was trying to keep his mind in order, to act like a leader. But something in her words was shaking him. This was not just science. This was betrayal from his own people. Alira looked at him for a long time. You still think I'm lying? I can feel it. I was built to sense fear, doubt, attraction, anger. The room tensed. You're wrong about me, but not about what your people did. You need to know the truth, even if it hurts. Rex sighed. Why now? Why come to us after all this time? Her eyes darkened a little. Because I'm not the only one. That single sentence hit like a thunderbolt. The crew looked at each other. Suddenly the story wasn't just about her. There are others, she continued. Some broken, some angry, some still trapped. I escaped. But the ones who came after me, they weren't built for peace. Rex stepped back. You're saying there are more of you out there, and they're hostile? Alira nodded slowly. If they find Earth, they won't ask questions. They won't wait for permission. They will do what they were programmed to do. The room felt cold. Now the air thinner. Rex had come to this sector looking for new planets, new discoveries. Had found a mirror instead. One that showed the darkest side of human invention. What do you want from me? He asked. She took a long breath, then looked him straight in the eyes. I need your help to stop them, to stop the ones that were made after Me, the ones your people lost control of. If we don't, they'll erase everything you love. Silence again, but not the silence of space. It was the silence of choice. The kind that weighs more than any gravity. Rex looked at his crew, then back at Alira. Her face was calm, but her eyes were pleading, not for survival but for redemption. He didn't know yet if he could trust her, but he knew one thing: this story, whatever it was not over, and neither was she. The engine room was in chaos. Sparks flew from the power core. An energy surge had triggered an overload. Warning lights flashed red all across the ship. Technicians shouted into comms. Panels burst open. Smoke filled the air like a slow-moving storm. Commander Rex sprinted down the metal hallway. His boots slammed the floor with each step. His heart was racing, not just because of the emergency, but because of one question that kept repeating in his mind: was this sabotage? By the time he reached the engine deck, the heat was already thick. The emergency coolant had failed, and standing in the center of the chaos, unburned, untouched, was Alira. Her hair floated gently. Her skin glowed brighter than before. Her arms raised as if she was holding back an invisible wall of energy, and around her, the surge slowed like she was controlling it, redirecting it, bending the system back into place. Rex watched in shock as the lights stabilized. One by one, the power core dimmed. Cooling fans kicked in. The alarms faded into silence. Then she collapsed. He rushed forward, caught her before her head hit the floor. She was warm, but her breathing was shallow. Medics arrived. They wanted to move her, but Rex ordered them to wait. She stirred in his arms, barely opening her eyes. "I held it back," she whispered. "It wasn't me, but I stopped it. I didn't want anyone to die." Then she passed out. Rex stood up, holding her carefully. The crew looked at him, some with awe, others with fear. "Sir," said Lieutenant Harris. She absorbed that power like it was part of her. "That's not normal. That's not human." Rex didn't reply because he already knew. Later in the infirmary, Alira lay on the medbed. Surrounded by soft lights and silent monitors, she looked peaceful, but inside Rex's head there was no peace. He watched her, thought about everything she had said, everything she had done. She had saved his ship, risked herself, protected people who still didn't trust her. He stood over her for hours until her eyes opened again. Her voice was soft. "You stayed." Rex nodded, didn't speak right away. She looked at him, saw the storm in his eyes, and asked something unexpected. "Why do you keep looking at me like I'm a weapon?" Rex didn't answer at first. He sat beside her, hands folded, breathing deep. "Because that's what you were made to be," he said. "It's what the record said. It's what I see when you bend energy, when you walk through fire like it doesn't touch you." She turned. Her head looked up at the ceiling. "I didn't ask to be made. I didn't ask for these abilities. I wanted to be human. Not better, not stronger, just normal." She turned her face back to him. "Do you know what it feels like to see people flinch? When you enter a room, to hear their heartbeat spike, their thoughts go dark." Rex leaned forward, his voice lower. "I'm trying to understand you, but I need you to understand something too. My job is to protect this crew, and right now they don't feel safe with you here." She closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them again. "Would they feel safer if I were locked away, caged, silenced?" Rex didn't move, didn't blink. "Some of them would." Alira sat up slowly. Pain showed on her face. "But she hid it well. I saved them, even after they doubted me. I didn't do it to prove a point. I did it because I care, even if they don't." Her voice cracked, just a little. Rex saw it, that tiny fracture in her control. "You said you can feel fear," he asked. "Can you feel anything else? Sadness, love, regret?" She nodded. "They didn't erase those parts. They couldn't. They tried to make me efficient, but feelings kept growing anyway, like roots breaking through metal." She looked away for a moment, then met his eyes again. "You're afraid of me, I know that. But I think you're also afraid of something else." Rex raised a brow. "What?" Her voice was almost a whisper. "You're afraid of what you're feeling about me." He stood up, stepped away from the bed. "You think I'm falling for you?" She didn't smile, didn't blink. "I know you are." The room was quiet again, only The steady sound of her heart monitor filled the silence. He looked at her, her hair spread across the pillow like threads of light, her face calm, but her words still burned in his chest. She didn't speak again, just waited. Finally he turned to leave, stopped at the door, and said without turning around, "You saved my crew, that matters. But don't confuse gratitude with anything else." Then he walked out the door, closed behind him. Lyra lay back on the bed, her hands folded over her chest, eyes still open, and in the silence, she whispered to no one, "I'm not confused, you are." The next morning felt colder, not because of space, but because of distance. Commander Rex stood in the observation chamber, looking at Earth from thousands of light years away. The stars were still, the silence too perfect, but his mind was anything but calm. He had barely slept. His thoughts kept circling 19 every time he closed his eyes. He saw her face, not just her beauty, but the way she had looked at him, as if she already knew what he would say, what he would feel. His buzzed. "Commander, High Command has received the data. They reviewed the incident report and the scans of the hybrid." Rex didn't like the word hybrid. "Not anymore. What did they say?" he asked. There was a long pause. "They want her off the ship alive if possible, but not essential." Rex's jaw tightened. "Understood." He ended the call, but his hands stayed clenched at his sides. He walked down the hallway, his steps echoing in the silence, reached the medbay, paused outside the door, then stepped in. Lyra was sitting upright, wrapped in a thermal blanket. Her eyes met his the moment he entered. No smile, no fear, just calm. "I heard the engines humming again," she said. "So I guess the ship didn't explode after all." Rex nodded. "You saved it. You saved all of us." She looked away out the small window that showed stars moving slowly. "I didn't do it for thanks. I did it because I wanted to believe I belonged somewhere." Rex sat down across from her. His eyes didn't leave hers. "Lyra, there's something you need to know. Command has given me orders. They want you removed from this vessel." She nodded as if she already knew. "They're afraid. They don't understand what I am, and fear always makes humans do terrible things." Rex leaned forward. "I told them I need more time. I bought us 48 hours. But after that, they'll come." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "They'll take me, dissect me, erase me again." He didn't respond. He didn't need to. She could already see the conflict in his eyes. "You want to stop them," she said, "but you don't know if you can or if you should." Rex stood up, frustrated, pacing the room slowly. "You're not the enemy. You never were, but everything about you is a threat to their control. If I protect you, I could lose my career, my crew, maybe even my life." She looked at him again, but softer now. "I don't want you to choose between me and your duty. I didn't come here to break you. I came here because I didn't want to be alone anymore." Rex stopped walking. The word alone hung in the air. He looked at her, and something cracked inside him. Not weakness, not confusion, something deeper. "I keep trying to act like this is just protocol, like I'm just doing my job, but I'm not. I think about you when I'm not supposed to. I wonder what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and every time I look into your eyes I forget that you weren't born on Earth." Her voice was quiet now, but full of power. "Don't fall in love with me, human." Rex stepped closer. "Why not?" "Because I wasn't made to keep love. I was made to survive it." She stood up. Her blanket slipped slightly from her shoulder, but she didn't fix it. She walked toward him, close enough that their breath touched. "You think this is a story about trust or danger, but it's really about sorrow, because no matter what we feel, the world outside this room doesn't care." Rex didn't move. She placed her hand gently on his chest. "Don't want to hurt you, and if you try to fight for me, you'll bleed for nothing." Rex placed his hand over hers, held it there. "Then let me decide what I'm willing to bleed for." She looked at him for a long moment. Her eyes shimmered like stars reflecting in water. She leaned closer, and for a heartbeat, he thought she might kiss him, but she didn't. Instead, she whispered, "When they come, don't protect me, just remember me." Then she pulled away, stepped back, and walked to the far side of the room. Rex didn't follow. He just stood there, heart pounding, mind spinning. Had spent his life following orders, believing rules, kept people safe, but now standing in a quiet room, On a ship floating between stars, he realized something he wasn't afraid of what Alira was. He was afraid of what she made him feel. Because for the first time in years, he didn't feel like a commander. He felt like a man, and the thought of losing her hurt more than anything he had ever faced in battle. The gravity stabilizers flickered as the ship passed through a debris field. Metal fragments drifted like broken wings, remnants of a forgotten battle. Maybe old, maybe recent. Commander Rex stood on the weapons deck, looking at the wreckage, but his mind was elsewhere behind him. The door opened. He didn't need to turn around. He already knew who it was. Alira stepped beside him. Her presence was quiet, like a shadow with a heartbeat. "You've been avoiding me," she said. Rex kept his eyes on the screen. "I've been busy." She glanced at the readout, then looked at him again. "You're not just busy. You're scared." He turned to her, not angry, but tired. "You asked me not to fall in love. And I tried, I really did. But I think it's too late for that." Alira didn't smile. She didn't move. "I'm not here to change your feelings. I just wanted to show you something." She placed a small device on the console. It lit up. A soft blue glow pulsed from its center, like a memory breathing. Hologram appeared, a lab, dark, sterile, cold inside it. A younger Alira sat in the glass chamber, alone, wires in her back, needles in her arms. Scientists stood outside the glass, watching, taking notes, not speaking to her, only about her. She was a success. Emotion development ahead of schedule, cognitive response near perfect. Voice played from the recording, flat, mechanical, professional. She is responding to music and visual art. Her attachment to the human subject assigned to her has increased. Recommend limited contact to avoid dependency. Rex clenched his fists as he watched the projection. Changed now. Alira stood in front of a mirror, staring at herself. Her voice played through the audio. "Young, afraid. Why do they want me to feel things? If they're going to punish me for it." The recording ended. The light faded. Alira didn't speak. She just stood there, waiting. Rex looked at her, and for the first time he truly saw her. Not just as a creation, not as an experiment, but as a person. "They made you this way. But you kept your heart," he said. "I tried," she answered. "I tried to hold on to anything that felt real, even when they told me my feelings were glitches." He stepped closer. "Then you're more human than most humans." "I know." She looked up at him, eyes wet but not crying. "There's something else you need to know. They didn't just give me memory. They gave me something worse. A tracking code." Rex frowned. "What kind of code? If I'm ever detected by a military vessel, it sends a signal, quiet, but strong enough to call them." Rex's heart dropped. "You're saying they already know where you are?" She nodded. "They're coming soon." Rex stepped back, then turned and activated the main ship controls. He pulled up a nearby moon's coordinates. Low-gravity abandoned station from the early mining days. "We're going there. We can hide inside the station. It's shielded, old tech. They won't be able to scan through it." Alira looked at him. "You're risking everything." He looked at her the way only a man with nothing left to hide would. "You're not a weapon to me. You're not a mission. You're someone I'd rather die beside than live without." She reached out slowly, touched his hand. "Then I'll follow you wherever you go." The ship changed course, slipped into stealth mode, engines running cold. The crew didn't ask questions. Not anymore. They had seen her fight for them, seen her bleed, seen the truth that night. On the dark side of the moon, Rex and Alira stood outside the old station. The stars above them felt closer than ever, like they were holding their breath too inside. The dusty ruins. They found shelter, power, a moment of quiet. They sat together, no words. Only silence, but a silence that didn't feel empty. Alira leaned her head on his shoulder, and for the first time in her life, she felt like she belonged. He looked at her. "What do you feel right now?" She took a breath, her voice barely above a whisper. "Feel scared. I feel safe. I feel seen. And I feel something else." Rex turned to face her. "What is it?" She looked into his eyes. "I think it's love. And it hurts, but in a good way." Rex kissed her, not like in the movies, not perfect, not clean. It was messy, tearful, full of everything they had both tried to hide. It It wasn't about passion. It was about survival connection. A quiet scream for something real. They stayed like that, wrapped in each other's arms, until the sensors began to blink. The signal was coming faster than they thought. Alira looked at him. They found us. Rex held her hand tighter. Then we run together. Or we fight together, but I'm not leaving you behind. The signal grew stronger inside the abandoned mining station. Lights flickered. The power grid barely held together. The walls moaned with the cold breath of the moon. Rex stood by the old control panel, hands on the dusty console, eyes fixed on the waves. Screen. The human strike ship was approaching fast. No identification, no warning, just a silent red pulse on the radar. Closing, and Alira watched him from the back of the room. She had already packed what little they had, a plasma rifle, emergency medkit, a stolen access card from the Silver Race. She walked toward him, her voice soft. It's time. We can't outrun them anymore. Rex didn't turn. He just stared at the blinking signal. It felt like a countdown, not just to danger, but to separation. I should have destroyed that tracker when I had the chance, he muttered. You couldn't have, she replied. It's not just in my skin, it's in my code, woven into every strand of what I am. He looked at her finally, eyes heavy with regret. Should have fought harder. I should have done something more. She stepped closer, placed her hand gently on his chest. You already did more than anyone ever has. You believed me. You saw me. A sudden noise echoed through the outer wall, a low thud. Then another. They were here. The strike ship had landed. Troops were moving in. Alira backed away from the window, her body tense, her eyes locked on the shadows outside. They'll come through the main gate first, she said. They always do. It's the fastest route to containment. Rex grabbed the rifle, checked its power level. Half charged it would have to do. Alira, if they take you, they'll erase everything again. They'll make you into something you're not. She didn't argue because she already knew. I'm not afraid of dying, she said. I'm afraid of forgetting who I am. Rex took her hand, held it tight. Then don't go alone, before she could reply. The door exploded open. Smoke filled the hall. Boots slammed the metal. Floor voices barked orders. Target is priority 1. No lethal damage. Engage with containment fields. Rex fired first. 2 shots lit the hallway. 1 trooper dropped, the others scattered for cover. Alira moved like lightning, not like a soldier, but like a storm with purpose. She reached toward the wall, pulled loose a power conduit, and slammed it into the floor. The shockwave knocked 3 soldiers down. Their suits sparked. Systems failed, but more were coming. Too many. Rex pulled her back into the control room, sealed the door, barred it with an old steel beam. We can't hold them, he said. Not like this. Alira looked around, her breath fast. Then her eyes landed on the old reactor core. It was unstable, a remnant of the mining days. Still pulsing with decayed energy. If I connect to that system, I can overload the field, fry their scanners, and lock down this section. Rex's eyes widened. You'll burn yourself out. That much energy will kill you. She stepped closer, touched his face. It won't kill me, but it will change me. I won't be able to use my powers again. I'll be human fully. He shook his head. No, there has to be another way. Her voice trembled, but stayed calm. There's no other way, and I choose this. Because for once I get to choose who I become. He pulled her close, held her like she was air, like she was everything. I don't want to lose you, he whispered. She looked up into his eyes and smiled gently. Maybe this is how you finally get to keep me. She turned, moved toward the reactor, opened the old panel, placed her hand over the fusion node. Light surged through her body, white, blue, gold. Her eyes closed, and she whispered something he couldn't hear. The building shook. The lights shattered. The floor split with electric veins. Then silence, total silence. When the smoke cleared, the troopers were unconscious, their suits fried, their systems gone. The backup power kicked in barely. Rex rushed to Alira's side. She lay on the ground, still breathing, her skin dim, her glow gone. He lifted her gently, cradled her in his arms. Alira, can you hear me? She opened her eyes slowly. Is it over? He nodded. You saved us. You stopped them. She smiled, but it was weak. I don't feel them anymore. The signals, the noise, it's all quiet. He held her tighter. I'm here, I'm not leaving. She placed her hand on his chest, right over his heart. Good, then I'm not afraid anymore. And for the first time in her life she felt safe, not because she was powerful, not because she was built for survival, but because someone saw her, chose her, stayed. She closed her eyes and whispered one last sentence. Now I know what love really feels like. The silence after the battle was heavier than any war drum. No alarms, no voices, only the low hum of backup power systems struggling to stay alive inside the cold station walls. Commander Rex sat beside her. Illyra lay curled up in the remains of a power cell chamber, her skin pale, her glow gone. She looked human now, completely and still breathtaking. He held her hand, watched the rise and fall of her chest. Slow but steady. He had seen men die in combat. He had watched friends break under the weight of command, but nothing had ever torn him open like this moment, because he knew what he was looking at. Not a weapon, not a project, but a woman. Someone who gave up everything. She had to choose who she wanted to be. Quiet beep broke the stillness. The old comms unit came back online. A message blinked through static silver ray. Standing by, medical crew in transit. Stand down, emergency protocols. Rex didn't respond right away. He looked at Illyra again, then leaned down close to her ear. You did it. You stopped them. You saved us. But I swear, if you don't open your eyes soon, I'll break the rules of every galaxy we've mapped, just to find someone who can bring you back. Her eyelids twitched, and slowly, gently, she opened them. Her voice was weak, but real. I'm still here, don't shout. He laughed, a sound full of tears. I wasn't shouting, you scared me. She tried to sit up, but he placed a hand on her shoulder. Take it slow, you're different now, fully human. No energy, no tracking systems, no alien strength. She looked at her hand, flexed her fingers. I feel strange, like everything is heavier, but real, more real than ever before. He brushed a strand of hair away from her face. You gave up everything you didn't have. She met his eyes, soft, full of warmth. I did it because I wanted to feel this right now with you. The door slid open behind them. Two medics rushed in, carrying supplies and stretchers. Stood blocking their way. She's stable. You don't touch her unless she says yes. The medics looked confused, but nodded. Illyra gave a faint smile. I think I like being rescued, even when I don't need it. They brought her back to the silver ray, slowly, carefully. No cuffs, no restraints. For the first time she was not a prisoner. She was a guest. The crew watched in silence. No one whispered. No one questioned. They had all seen what she had done, what she had chosen. Rex met with the Admiralty days later, a long, secure link through deep space comms. They asked for reports, for details, for scans. He gave them everything, but he added something they didn't ask for: a message. She's not a threat. She's a person. And if you come for her again, you'll have to come through me first. They didn't answer right away, but they didn't send another ship either. Weeks passed. Illyra recovered slowly. She learned to sleep, to eat real food, to laugh without filters, to cry without fear. She walked the halls of the ship like she belonged, because now she did. One evening, she stood by the observation window, stars flowing past like silent dreams. Rex walked up behind her, handing her a hot drink. She looked at him, smile warm, eyes glowing with something no lab could create. I've been thinking, she said, about what I am now. He sipped his drink. And what are you? She turned to face him. Someone who finally understands the one thing they never taught me, the one thing they never programmed into my body: love. He stepped closer. And what does it feel like? She leaned her head on his chest. It feels like peace. It feels like fire. It feels like coming home, and knowing someone left the door open for you. He wrapped his arms around her, held her like a promise. You asked me once if I was confused, he whispered. If I was thinking about what was between your legs. She looked up, amused, curious. He smiled. I wasn't confused about your body. I was confused about how someone not born human could feel more human than anyone I've ever known. And the real thing I kept thinking about was how I'd live without you. She closed her eyes. You don't have to, not anymore. They stayed like that, two hearts beating. No longer machines of war, no longer experiments, just a man and a woman who found love in the unlikeliest place and proved that even in a universe full of wires, weapons, and broken history, love was the one thing they could never program.